Harvest loss is an incredibly big issue, but you know what? There are some topics that we do on the show here, and if you're a very experienced farmer, you're like, yeah, no kidding, harvest loss is a big deal. And boy, I've heard this a million times, but you know what? Sometimes we get so busy in the fall, we just say, oh, I gotta go, I gotta get this done. Rain's coming, snow's coming. We just don't take the time. And so that's one of the main reasons why we're talking about this today. Just make sure you're taking the time during harvest to take a look at harvest loss. And then if you do have any, if there's anything going on, you got to look at how am I going to prevent that from happening again next year.
All right, here's the big thing. Like Brian mentioned, we just get in such a rush at harvest that, man, we got to go, we got to go, we got to go. And we're thinking about the big picture of I got to get all this crop off the field and into my bin. What we forget about is when we're dropping a few kernels, how many dollars that really adds up to. Because of that, along with Case IH, we developed the Ag PhD Harvest Loss app. It's a free download and it's really simple to use. When you're in a crop like corn, for example, if you put in a number like, well, I'm finding 4 kernels on the ground per square foot, how much does that add up to? Well, you just program in whatever the price of corn is. Maybe it's $3.50 a bushel, and boom, you see, wow, I'm losing a couple of bushels per acre here, and that's adding up to a lot of dollars per acre as well.
What we did on our farm is just made a few little squares, 1-foot squares, with PVC pipe. It was no big deal. We did that in the off season. So then any of our guys could walk out there, just throw that square down, measure out real quickly what we're having for harvest loss. Now the big thing is you can have a number of different types of harvest loss. So you want to take a look at the field before you harvest, or just step out of the combine, look at stuff you haven't harvested. Is there anything on the ground? Then is it a header loss? I mean, just back up your combine a little bit, see if it's the head. Or otherwise you have to look behind the combine and see where is this whole issue coming from, identify where your problem is. If it's out in the field ahead of time, you know what, that's frustrating because there's nothing you can do right now. You've already lost that yield. We just talked about potassium a little bit earlier. That's a big thing. If you want better standability for next year, less harvest loss, get your potassium levels up, but there are a number of other things obviously you can do as well.
Okay, the big thing to remember is it only takes about 2 kernels of corn per square foot to equal a bushel of yield loss. With soybeans, it takes about 4 soybeans per square foot to equal a bushel yield loss. That's 1 4-bean pod. That's not very many. And then you look at wheat, it takes about 16 kernels of wheat to equal 1 bushel of yield loss.
And we're bringing this up today because I know you've heard it a million times, but all I can tell you is there is still such tremendous harvest loss all around the country. We really want you to watch that with your harvest this year.
You know, the other thing we should add into the harvest loss calculator, Brian, is how much it's going to cost to control that volunteer grain the next year, because you've got another herbicide expense to try and clean up what your mistake was from this year. Well, one other thing you'll be out there spraying those herbicides for is our Weed of the Week. We'll show you how to stop this one coming up next.